What's up, everybody? Welcome to Most Excellent Entertainment. I am your host, Keith, and my guest this week is a musician, a songwriter, a singer, um, a writer, a very, very busy man, um, Mr. Jeremy Porter from Jeremy Porter and the Tucos. Welcome, Jeremy.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a interesting day so far, even though I've only been up for like an hour. So had a lot going on already. So
And you're where? You're in Indiana?
yeah, I'm down in southern Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not where I'm from. It's a different thing out here, but I'm actually from New York. Uh,
Okay.
I think you've actually played in Ithaca.
I
So
have played in Ithaca a
I'm
couple
from
times.
Ithaca. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm from Ithaca. I was born in Syracuse, but I grew up in Ithaca. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a different way of life down here in southern
That's
Indiana.
that's where Cornell is.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
played there a couple times. We had some friends there and yeah, got in some trouble there. Like that city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up there in the '90s was wild, man. The music scene was really cool. They were a lot of funk bands and jam bands and ska. Ska was huge in Ithaca in the '90s.
Right?
There's a lot of cool shows to go to. So
Yeah, a lot of those college towns they had great bars and great venues back then, and
yeah.
a lot of them are kind of shells of that now.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of it's going away. Like I haven't been back home in a while, and from what I understand, like it's just not the same anymore. There's still some cool bands, but they don't have as many places to play out.
Yep.
Um, there was a Max's in Ithaca. Um, and I know the famous Max's is in New York, but there was also one that they brought down to Ithaca, and it was like a metal club. And White Zombie used to play there all the time before they got famous.
Oh, nice.
That was kind of cool. Yeah, getting to
Yeah.
see White Zombie and stuff. Um,
Yeah. We played someplace that was like upstairs
okay.
from some bar, and then we played somewhere like that was right next to campus once, and then we
Okay.
played one time we played somewhere right downtown that was also upstairs, kind of like a pool hall type of thing. But yeah, I think
Okay.
we've been there two or three times. But it's been a while. I haven't been able to get back for the last few years, but not for lack of trying. It's just like you said, I think a lot of the venues in a lot of these towns are drying up, and the places that I had an in at are they're just not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but I mean, we've already started talking a little bit about being on the road. You are constantly out there playing. Um, I just like doing 50 something dates with your band, and then you also do solo shows, and that
Yeah.
that's to me. I mean, you're like a warrior, man. That's awesome.
Well, I try, man. I do. I've been doing 40 to 50 shows a year, some couple times a little more. This year it's definitely going to be more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for a independent, unsigned, no booking agent, just a guy out there with his guitar singing his songs to whoever will let him set up, it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that I want to, I mean, just because I was super impressed with it, and then we'll get into some of the history and all that good stuff. But I
Sure.
mean, between like singles and appearances on like compilations, plus your releases and all the releases that you've put out with your bands, you have like 50 releases. That is an immense catalog of music, man.
Yeah, a lot of those are like single songs for
Sure,
compilations and stuff. I
sure.
mean, so the band has four albums out, and
Right,
we're finishing up our fifth. And that started in our first record came out in 2013, 2014.
right,
And we were putting out a record every 2 years for a couple years there, and then our last one took, I think, 3 years, and this one's going on 3 years. Um, Not, I mean, that doesn't take that long to make it, but between records. And then
right,
I
sure.
just did my first solo, or well, my second solo record a year ago in September. Um, then before that, like in the 90s, it was cassettes,
Yeah.
and then in the 2000s, it was a couple CDs, which were like full length, but wasn't like a vinyl thing or anything. So yeah, that number sounds impressive, but like I said, a lot of those are like single song. Like every year there's a Michigan Christmas compilation that I put a song on, and that's probably 15 right there.
Right.
That's
Sure. Sure.
probably
Sure.
almost a third of that number. So it's not quite like I don't have like 50 records out.
Right. 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 So we'll head back and talk about your influences because the music that you're making right now, at the very least, it combines like power pop and punk rock and roots rock and country, and I mean, there's obviously like a lot of diversity in there. When I was listening to it, the first band that came to mind was the Replacements. Honestly, like I was like, wow, this is, that's just how music works. You kind of
Yep.
relate it to other stuff. And yeah, the Replacements, and I hear like some John Doe, and I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Refreshments. They were like a band from Arizona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I heard that kind of thing in there.
Hmm.
But what influenced you, like, to make music, and what bands really grabbed you when you first started?
Well, when I first started, I mean, I grew up in a very musical household, and my parents had they had a record collection that had a lot of Dylan, Beach Boys, um, Beatles, Stones, and then as into the 70s, Fleetwood Mac, Jim Croce, stuff like that. So that
Hmm.
was certainly my first thing was hearing like those Beatles records and just being like I wasn't actually a musician yet, but it was like, some of the stuff in that music really kind of made me feel a certain way that, reading a book or, riding my bike didn't. It was something special in music pretty early on. And then it, getting into like the late 70s when I was, not quite a teenager yet. Um, I heard Cheap Trick for the first time. And I was in a department store and I heard I Want You to Want Me in like the stereo aisle or something. And I was just like, I mean that kind of had the hooks of the Beatles, but it also had this edge to it that
Yeah.
I hadn't yet heard.
Hmm.
And that's of course that's the power pop thing. And from there, so I was all in on Cheap Trick, and by that point I was heavily like into Kiss. And and then I got into like the Knack and the Who. So like my first exposure to the Who was like the Kenny Jones era,
Okay.
and then I worked my way back. And then in around 83-ish, then I discovered metal. And
Right.
then like my world just kind of changed because it just seemed so extreme, and the stuff
Yeah.
I was listening to maybe wasn't as extreme as a lot of the metal is today, but I was pretty deep into metal for a few years, and then I moved up to the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, and I met some guys up there, and they turned me on to punk rock.
Okay.
And then I guess the normal trajectory from there is you do that for a while, and then you realize then I started listening to Social Distortion. Next thing you know, I'm listening to Johnny Cash, and then there's all the country stuff, Uncle
Sure.
Tupelo, Burrito Brothers,
Mhm. Yeah.
Dwight Yoakam. I'm sure you mentioned John Doe. I'm sure X falls in there at some
Yeah.
point with a bit of crossover there. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the trajectory of it. But it all started with my mom's Beatles records, my dad's Stones records, and then some of that folky stuff from the 70s, Jim
Sure.
Croce, Gordon Lightfoot, stuff like that.
Sure. Sure. That's like honestly, that's such a cool progression of finding music. That's Mine was very, very similar to that, honestly. My mom wasn't a Led Zeppelin, or not a Led Zeppelin, wasn't a Beatles fan, but she was big into the Monkees, and the Monkees were kind
Yeah.
of like, the commercial Beatles. So,
Well,
so
those the Monkees were awesome, man.
yeah,
Those songs are timeless.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah, I love the Monkees.
Right. My
Absolutely.
first favorite song was probably Last Train to Clarksville.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, I like Valerie quite a bit, and yeah, Pleasant Valley Sunday, all that stuff, all that stuff is just so great.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so John Doe, just to mention real quick, because I don't get to talk about John Doe very much on this podcast. His solo album, Meet John Doe, his first one, is such a gem, man. People
Oh
need to go
yeah.
find that thing. Like it's just I picked that cassette up at a Dollar Tree or whatever it was back then, when I was a kid, and it just man, it was like the first time I'd really heard country music and rock music really paired like that because it
Yeah.
was so uh like Nashville, but it had such an edge to it, and the heartbreak was just incredible. Like, yeah,
That dude, he's just there's such an honesty in his singing,
yeah,
you know. And he's maybe, I mean, he'd probably admit he's not exactly Pavarotti, but it's like there's such an honesty a a rawness. I don't know the exact word I'm looking for here, but he's so like he just puts himself out there with his voice and his vocals, you know. I mean, of course the songs are great and all that too, but yeah, he's really great. And I really liked his record Keeper,
sure,
which um which had that tiger song on it about his dog.
right,
And I love the record he did with the Sadies. And
okay,
I don't know if you heard that one, but that's
have,
the Sadies are they're kind of like a rock country band from Toronto,
hmm,
and they're really really well known around these parts. And
okay,
they did a record of I think it's all like country, like 60s 70s country songs.
oh, cool,
It's and the harmonies are incredible, and the Sadies are a great band. But the record he did with the Sadies is right up there with my favorite things he's ever done.
awesome. I'll have to check that out
But
for
those
sure.
first three X albums, though, you
Yeah,
can't poke holes in those. I mean, those are great. Even I even like the fourth one, but those first three are just like what a run that was, you know?
yeah. The energy the X had, I think that's what made them punk. You
Yeah.
know, punk was such a all-encompassing thing. Like people think of the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, yeah, and they think punk ends with that, but I mean, punk was really a lot more.
Well, what I liked about X, and it's well, one of the things I liked about X, and it was similar again with Social Distortion, is that like they weren't afraid to be good, you know,
Yeah.
like they had guitar solos,
Yep.
which I mean, and don't get me wrong, the Ramones are one of the coolest, greatest bands ever, right? But
Yeah.
like, there was this thing in punk where it's like guitar solos are indulgent, they're not cool, or somebody who can actually really play. But man, Billy Zoom, he could really play, and
Right.
he still can really play. And it's like, that's one of the things that I always liked about X
Yeah.
is just their, the fact they didn't shy away from that. They didn't shy away from the fact that they had a hot shot guitar player, and I came from metal, so
Right. Right.
I was way into hot shot guitar players, and as hard as I tried, I was never going to be one. And I did
Right.
try, and
Yeah.
it's just like I couldn't play like Randy Rhoads. I could play like Joe
Right.
Strummer, but I couldn't play like Randy Rhoads. So that's part of what drew me to punk. But I always loved those bands that had those punk bands with the great guitarists.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Yeah. I was gonna say like your first band was a punk band,
Yeah.
and that's always kind of the easiest. It's like these guys can barely play. I'm pretty sure I can do this. Like
Yeah.
when you
I
first
mean,
start out.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, it's not rocket science learning like a three-chord song. Getting it to feel right. Now that's a different thing, and that's not something very many 16-year-old kids can do, and we certainly couldn't,
Sure.
but I mean, over time we figured it out, and we that band that we actually just played our 40th reunion show up in Marquette,
Oh,
Michigan
nice.
in
Awesome.
August. So we hadn't played in like 12, 13 years, but we
Wow.
just did a show, and it's like we're all like real musicians now and we know how to play off each other, and we know about dynamics and all that stuff we didn't know when we were 16.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we were getting into bars to do like open mic nights at that age, and I'm not sure it was good for my health, but I wouldn't trade those memories.
Yeah, definitely, man. So when did you decide to like, well, you know what, before we even talk about that, I do want to talk about your voice
Sure.
because like you were talking about with John Doe, you have like a real honesty and like a ragged quality to your voice. Um, Listening to your live stuff, it's very, very close to what you record, which is really, really cool. Um, and just I just think you have a super cool voice. I think you've got great tone, and I was really impressed with that. And I just wanted to throw out a compliment to you, basically.
Well, thanks,
So,
man. I mean, that
you're welcome.
that that means a lot. I'm a singer by default, you
Yeah,
know. It's and that this, I was not a singer for the first two bands I was in. Um, but it just became increasingly apparent to me that um, if I wanted things done a certain way, I was going to have to do it myself. And it also, over the time, I've learned that the fewer people you have in the band, the better it is for the longevity of the band, because
sure.
there's fewer things that can go wrong. And,
Right.
yeah, and plus, I mean, obviously doing the solo acoustic thing, which I've been out doing for the last year and a half. I mean, it's just you anyway. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I appreciate that. I don't consider myself a great singer. Um, on a good night, I think I'm okay, but I don't, I just kind of try to work with what I got the best I can and rip off the people who are in my record collection as best I can, and hopefully it connects like that with someone. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, it's like Billy Idol said. I've quoted this a few times because Billy Idol is was kind of a hero of mine. I know people corporate punk or whatever, but man, to me, that guy as a
Oh
kid,
man.
rock and roll. You know.
Billy Idol's all that those Gen
Yeah.
X records were great.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I love those first couple records of his too. So
Sure.
he's still out there doing it too. He's
I
having a
know.
he's
He
having
just
a good resurgence. I wanted to go see him, but I was on the road when he came to town, so I
man.
couldn't go.
Yeah, but he said on the Don't Stop EP, there's an interview on the backside of it, and he said Robert Plant or Mick Jagger can't sing and Robert Plant can, and he said, but do I listen to Robert Plant? No, I listen to Mick Jagger because he can't sing and he sounds great.
Yeah.
So there's technical chops aren't always what it's about, man. Feeling.
No,
Yeah,
and I have this ongoing debate a lot with a lot of my friends about singers and what makes a great singer, and more specifically, like who is the greatest um, American rock and roll singer of all time,
whew,
all things considered.
yeah,
And whenever you start talking about that stuff, you have to establish the criteria. And
right,
I think talent is certainly one of those things, like technical ability, like a
yeah,
vocal range, like a Freddie Mercury or a Robin Zander or somebody like or Steve Perry or somebody like that.
sure,
But
sure,
it's not the only thing. I mean, Mick Jagger doesn't have that. But
right, right,
Mick Jagger's got this swagger and he's got this delivery, and he can sound snotty or he can sound sad or he can sound cocky. I mean, my favorite my favorite Jagger album is Aftermath.
okay,
And if you listen to Aftermath, the vocals on that album are insane. Like
yeah,
they're so good, man.
wow,
Like he is just so full of piss and vinegar on that record. And yeah, I love that record and I love his vocals. But yeah, I'm a huge Jagger fan for sure. Yeah. So I
nice,
get what he was saying, and I mean when you can get the full package, like somebody who's got that swagger like Billy Idol has,
Mhm.
But if you get like a Steven Tyler or a Robin Zander who also has the range, and they know what to do with it and stuff, that's real magic, to
Sure.
me.
To throw my hat in the ring for the best American rock singer of all time. Uh, Even though later on in his career his voice got kind of rough, it's Chris Cornell for me.
Oh,
Just
sure.
you
He
know,
could be in that discussion. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Dude was incredible. Yeah. I was a little late coming to the Soundgarden game. I mean, I saw them in '87 opening up for Soul Asylum in Detroit.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. And that was like first EP, I think, for them.
Sure.
And I didn't really care for them. And then I saw them again a couple times, but in later years, like I really warmed up to them and grew to appreciate what an amazing talent that dude was, man.
Yeah,
I mean, oh
yeah,
my God. Yeah, there was nobody who really could sing like that.
definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I was a metal guy in the '80s, 120%, and like so I heard Loud Love on Headbangers Ball, and I didn't like it. It was too I don't know, man. He was just wailing, and I couldn't really get into it. But then when they put out Bad Motorfinger, it was so muscular and so aggressive and so compact. Um, I
Yep.
went back and checked out all the other stuff, and I could appreciate it. And eventually, like Louder Than Love became one of my favorite records.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I was old enough yet to really appreciate what they were doing, like mixing the psychedelic with uh with metal and whatever else was happening in Seattle.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I mean, I don't know what it was because I was into a lot of that Seattle stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, I loved Nirvana and Mudhoney and
Mm,
that stuff when it was coming out, I loved some of the lesser known stuff coming out of Seattle, like Coffin Break and Best Kissers in the World and stuff like that too. But I never latched on to Soundgarden, and like I said, it's only been the last maybe 10 years where it was
oh
like
wow.
and I saw those guys. I probably saw them 4 or 5 times, but it's like, only in more recent years have I really been like, wow,
Yeah.
what a
Wow.
talent.
Yeah, for sure. So getting back to you a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um when you moved on from punk rock, let's say, and kind of decided to get a little more serious and make songs that were a little more complex, like what sparked that? Did you just get better and so you were like, hey, I can do more stuff? Or
Yeah, I don't know if I ever really moved on from punk rock. I mean,
yeah,
um, you know, I guess it depends how you look at it. Because certainly, I mean, you know, downstate, I was still in like punk bands. Like my first couple bands were Shoots and Ladders and Slugbug, and those were definitely punk bands.
sure.
And then in the 2000s, I was in a band called the Off Ramps, and it was definitely more on like the power pop side,
Mhm.
and but it was still upbeat. I mean, maybe not punk in the like 77 or Zen Arcade sense or whatever, but it still felt pretty punk to me. And the Tuco's live, I think, still has a lot of elements of that, and we still do a lot of like up tempo stuff, even though a lot of it's I'd say like mid to up tempo. But it just I don't know, man. It's a very natural thing. Like when I remember after Slugbug when I formed the Off Ramps, I was like, this is going to be an alt country band, because I was
Yeah,
way deep into like Burrito Brothers and Uncle Tupelo and stuff. And that band taught me that you can't really, or maybe some people can. I can't just say this is what I'm going to do. Because
yeah,
next thing I know, I mean, we just start playing and then it sounds like this, and the next thing I know, it's this power pop rock thing, and and I loved it and it was great and everything, but it wasn't what I set out to do. I didn't regret that, but I learned like just write the songs and whatever they are. And if you want the truth, I mean it's always been a bit of an issue for me when it comes to promoting the music or even
Hmm.
talking to people about music because I always have what I call this identity crisis. Are they, are they an alt country band? Are they a punk band? Are they a power pop band? Are they are they a bar rock band? Do they want to be, the Replacements, or do they want to be old 97s, and it's like,
Sure.
and the answer is yes, So
Yeah.
but I just kind of gave up on trying to do one thing or another, and I just write songs at a feverish pace, and then let them fall where they do and see which ones the boys like. And those are Tuco songs, and the ones they don't are usually my songs. So
Right on.
yeah.
So, one thing, two things. But the first thing is when Uncle Tupelo was getting like massive, I didn't listen to them at all.
I
Back
didn't either.
home, yeah, back home they had the long cut was released as a radio single, and that song was so rock and roll to me, and like the jagged guitar at the beginning, and like I don't know, and I went out and got it and love Anodyne, like just that album, and then I found out they were like breaking up, But
Yep. I got into them right as they were breaking up, and
yeah, man,
they played Detroit a couple months before, maybe not even that long before their last show, and I was just starting to get into them, and
yeah,
yeah, and I never got to see them, but I felt pretty hard for that band though once I dove in, and that opened a lot of doors for me, was listening to
sure,
that stuff.
sure. Um, and so then the other thing that I wanted to say, like honestly, when I was listening to the Tucos, um, you, the diversity worked for me because I like a lot of different things. And at first I was like, okay, this is gonna be like all country, but then I mean, there's like power chords in there, and some songs that are just straight up like power pop or pop rock, and I dug it. I mean, I think there's elements that string it all together, and a lot of that's your storytelling. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thread, right? And
yeah,
but yeah, it's it's a bit, I wouldn't say all over the place, but it's got three or four different things going on. I
right.
mean, some of it some of it touches on rockabilly.
Hmm.
I definitely not a rockabilly band, but there are songs that could hang with those dudes. And some of it's like just straight up like country crying in your beer type stuff, and
Yep.
some of it's like 1984 Minneapolis type stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a bit diverse. Yeah.
Sure. I don't take notes because I like to just have natural conversations.
Sure.
But there was a song that I really really dug, and when you played it live, you said it was a B side. Uh,
Okay.
about a home or something along those lines. That was a great.
Ain't my house anymore.
That's a great freaking song, man.
Thanks. I still play that song almost every show I do. Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, that was our first single, and
Okay.
it should have been the A side because it's a lot
Yeah.
better than the A side. And
Okay.
in hindsight, and so we had a best of CD, and that was on the best of, and the A side was on the rarity CD. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, but that was the B side. Yeah, but thanks. Yeah, I like that tune a lot. I still play that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just the story of it. I mean, it's definitely like classic country. You know, lost everything. It's just man. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
a reoccurring theme in my music seems to be regret,
Yeah.
and that song certainly would fall into that category. But yeah, it's I after a couple few years, I had to start telling myself to stop writing questions about the bar, going to the bar,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
which I think a lot of bands probably come to that. But yeah, that was our first single on Magwheel Records, and yeah, I like that tune. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. You're welcome, man. It's a great song. Um. So I've written probably 300 songs, and I was super prolific in my 20s and 30s, and now I just kind of write every once in a while. How do you keep I don't know what it is. Like I think I just had more going on in my brain and my body and what at that time. But how do you keep writing? Like I mean it's just
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I for the last several years. I mean, my process has been about the same, and it's been working for me. Where I'll usually write about 30 songs for a record,
Okay.
and then I'll show maybe 20 of them to the band, and then we'll learn maybe 16 of them. Then we'll record maybe 13 of them. We'll put 10 on the record and two on the 7 inch and have one left over.
Okay.
It's kind of been that pattern, right?
Yeah.
And I just constantly write, and I always finish the songs, and but it's important. I always have to tell people this. It's like they're not all good.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, like I won't even show the band because they're not good, or they're derivative, or they're
Yeah.
of either something I've done or something someone else has done.
Sure.
And I try to avoid that as much as possible. So I don't have a problem with quantity at all,
Okay.
but whittling it down to quality is another question. And that's where the real work is, for me, is whenever I write a song, it's the best song I ever wrote.
Yeah.
But then how do I feel about it in 3 weeks? That's always the question. And
Mm.
I'll know, in a week or two if it is or not. And more times than not, it's not.
Yeah.
But the ones
Yeah.
I end up with are the ones that either were good enough to keep or good enough to keep working on. And then what I really kind of get off on in songwriting is the editing process, is taking that original version of a song where I'll write it in an afternoon and I'll get it down on my phone, and then I'll start whittling away at the arrangement. And
Right.
okay, I don't like long songs. I start getting heart palpitations if my songs are longer than 3.5 minutes.
Mm.
So I start whittling it down until it's in the 3 minute range. Um, just I'm really into economical songwriting, so I don't want there to be anything wasted, anything unnecessary in there.
Yeah.
No unnecessary verses, no unnecessary parts. If it's getting in the way of the flow of the song, and more times than not, you can accomplish that in less than 3.5 minutes.
Sure. Sure.
So that's where I spend most of my time. The songs come quick, but whittling them down into something that's usable takes a lot longer for me. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Where do you?
I don't write as much when I'm on the road,
Yeah.
which has been
Mm.
crazy on the road for the last year or two. Um, but yeah, I still write, and I was just writing today, and yeah, so it's just constant writing, and I always finish. Even if I'm halfway through and I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I'll still finish it just for the exercise of
Yes.
finishing it. You never know, you might steal something from it later.
Sure. Sure. Where do you think the ideas come from?
Well, they come from all over the place. A, a lot of times I'll hear a phrase or a story in passing, and it could be on TV, or it could be something I overhear at the gas station, or it could be something that a friend is going through or something. It could be something from my past.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of times it's like a lot of times somebody will say something in a movie or a TV show, and I'll just put that in my phone,
Okay.
like just some saying, like a sentence that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
And I watch a lot of like retro TV, like Chips and Adam 12 and Emergency and stuff like that.
Nice.
And that stuff's gold, man, for cheesy like lines like that, and
Yeah.
stuff where, you just hear that one thing. And that's this tune I was working on today. Like it was something this guy said in Adam 12, and I'm just like, that's a great line. And I'll build a song around it. And in the end, I may not even use that line, but it just gets the ball rolling. So I do that a lot. And it could be a situation or a story somebody tells me. A lot of our songs are like that. Like somebody they'll have a great story about somebody, and I'll be like, that needs to be a song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. I just found out this friend of mine, his I think his great uncle was in the IRA in Ireland and got shot in the back by the black and tans and
Oh my God.
whatever. Yeah, and it's this amazing story. And this guy is a bit of a folk hero in his town and stuff. And I was just like, if Shane MacGowan didn't write a song about him, I think I probably need to,
That's
because
fun.
yeah, it was a fantastic story. So it's just stuff like that, wherever I can get it, man, I will grab it from. And then I'll work on it whenever I can. I drive a lot, so a lot of times I'll work on lyrics in the car.
Okay.
Just turn the stereo off and just keep singing things over and over again until I have it, and I do that a lot too.
Okay. Speaking of the IRA, I remember a movie. I think it had like Brad Pitt and Liam Neeson in it, maybe about the IRA when I was younger. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
Was it
it's a really cool movie. I remember
was it
that.
Harrison Ford?
Maybe it was Harrison Ford.
They were on a boat at one point, I want to say.
Oh, it was so long ago, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
look
I
that
don't
up.
know.
I remember really liking it. Maybe it was called like the Chosen One or the something one.
The Devil's Own or something like
May
that.
Oh yeah, I think
I
that's
think that might
it.
have been Harrison Ford. Yeah,
Okay, I
I'm
think that's
not
it.
I'm not positive, and I
Okay.
haven't thought about that movie until you just said that.
Me
But,
either. Yeah, you mentioned the IRA, and the first
yeah,
thing I thought of was Megadeth's cover of Anarchy in the UK, and
yeah.
then and then I
Oh
thought of that
yeah,
movie. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Um, but uh, but yeah. So you have played with a lot of really cool bands. Like
Yeah.
um, in your bio, you mentioned playing with American Aquarium, which man,
Yep.
that's a master class in storytelling. I'm sure just seeing
Yeah,
them.
he's great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But what are some of the acts that like you've played with and they just blew you away when I mean if you got a chance to catch them.
Um, like they blew me away just because they were so awesome.
Yeah, 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 just so good. I mean, we could talk about whether they were kind too and that kind of thing, but
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of those bands who you probably saw my bio or whatever. I mean, those are road bands, and they're like, American Aquarium's great. Beach Slang was a great band when they were together. I mean, they just tore the roof off the place, and Soul Asylum was really good.
yeah,
And Cracker was really good. So yeah, a lot of those bands were just great. I don't know. I'm trying to think of you know, um, T Tim Barry's always great. I'll give you one though. So
okay,
there's a band who you may or may not know from Columbus, Ohio, called Two Cow Garage.
okay.
Do you know those guys?
I
So,
don't, but I know Watershed. I saw Watershed pop up on your
oh
on
yeah.
they're from they're from that area too. But yeah,
Watershed certainly falls under that category of being a great
sure,
band who we played
sure.
with. But Two Cow Garage would be the generation younger,
Okay.
and they kind of led the charge in the upper Midwest for bands that were kind of like doing it themselves and just getting out there and touring at a young age and being amazing songwriters. And Micah and Shane are the two main guys in that band and the two songwriters. And they're I probably have 20 years on those guys.
Sure.
And I was immediately sort of jealous of what they were doing, at a younger age than I was, and kind of what I probably wished that I had been doing at that time. And but they once it took me a minute, but once I got over off my high horse and embraced that band, I
Yeah.
mean, they become one of my favorite bands of all time. And I'll send you some of their stuff, but
Cool.
it's amazing songwriting, super high energy stuff, and I mean, the songs are incredible. But Micah and his partner Vanessa, they're out doing their own thing. They play everywhere. Shane gets out a bit still, and they still play together once in a while as a band. So that's a band that was like these guys are something special, where
Uh,
maybe, took me a minute to figure it out, but that was on me, not them. Yeah.
sure, sure.
But all those,
I think
all those bands are cool. And I played with Green Day really early on, and that was something else. But yeah, It's it's always cool playing with those bigger bands that you listen to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you mentioned Cracker. There's I think there's people who came on to Cracker in the 90s who don't realize like David Lowery had been a touring musician since the early 80s, you know? I mean, he
Oh
has been
yeah.
out there freaking.
Well, I grew up on Camper Van,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so that's that I mean, if you want the truth, I don't think I've ever owned a Cracker record, you know.
Okay.
I never had a problem with Cracker, and I liked them when they came on. They was better than a lot of the stuff on the alternative radio. And I
Sure.
always liked his voice, but I love that Telephone Free Landslide Victory Camper Van Beethoven record.
Sure.
Man, so and they were ahead of their time. I mean, that's like some alt country shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
100%.
they predated a lot of that stuff, you know, those guys and like I guess maybe Beat Farmers would have been around
Sure.
there and uh to a lesser extent maybe Jason and the Scorchers, but a lot of those bands were they were ahead of their time, you know, doing that stuff that was you might call it or even the Violent Femmes, you know, you might call
Oh
it
yeah.
like punk. And in a way it was punk, but it wasn't it wasn't the Ramones, it wasn't Black Flag, you know, but it
Yeah.
was pretty great.
Yeah, there's bands like Jason the Scorchers and Phantom Rocker and Slick who I don't think get the notice that they deserve. You know, those
Probably not.
man, yeah.
Well, Jay,
Uh,
there's another band, Jason the Scorchers, who just had a smoking guitar player, you know, and great songs. You know, they weren't these, you know, they weren't like conventional punk songs or whatever, but you know, just another band that just had amazing musicianship, you know.
yeah,
And I don't want to shit on punk either because I love, you know, I love Black Flag and I love, you know, the Sex Pistols. I love that Sex Pistols album. And I
yeah, yeah,
love the Ramones, you know. I mean, the Ramones are probably the best band I ever saw in my entire life. And
sure.
but so I'm not, I don't want to come off like I'm knocking on that, but it's just that's kind of what drew me to that other stuff was that those smoking guitar players, you know.
Right, right, absolutely. I mean, and like Bad Religion. I don't know who their guitar player is, but he's pretty freaking talented.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, when you get into some of that stuff that kind of uh was like a hybrid of old school punk and hardcore, like Bad Religion and Pennywise and Bouncing Souls and stuff like that, they definitely had good guitarists
oh
and
yeah, yep,
so
yep.
um
Brian Baker is one of the guitar players for Bad Religion.
okay,
So
cool. Eileen,
he was from
Eileen,
Minor Threat, and
okay, oh, right on.
I
Heck
think
yeah.
he played bass in Minor Threat, but don't
Okay,
quote me on that. Yeah,
sure.
I'm not a Minor Threat Discord historian, but yeah,
Yeah. I have a Minor Threat vinyl.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean they're definitely important, you know.
Oh, for sure.
But it's funny because there's a band from Michigan that I just saw live that I had never heard of before. And speaking of like rockabilly and stuff like that, they blew my mind. Do you know the Coffin Cats?
Um, I know one of the dudes a little bit.
Okay.
Fish Guts, right? Isn't Fish Guts in that band?
Dude, I just saw them play a couple months ago. I have no idea anything about the band other than the fact that live they're insane.
Yeah,
Like that's all I know. Like, oh my god.
and everywhere I play, in every city I play in,
Yeah,
there's a Coffin Cats poster. Yeah,
man. Yeah, they're out there.
they tour like crazy, and people love them. And yeah,
I had never heard of them before, and I bought one of their albums at the show because they killed it. Like,
yeah, they are an institution
and
for
it's
sure.
like the Misfits if there was a lot more rockabilly mixed in.
Yeah,
It's
yep,
very, yeah, but even the vocals are very similar to Glenn Danzig. But man,
yep,
the show that they put on, the dude plays the upright bass.
yeah,
He's playing punk and he's playing an
for
upright
sure.
bass and he's lifting it up in the freaking air and playing it and standing on it and playing it. This is nuts, dude. This is nuts.
Yeah,
Um,
they definitely have a thing, and they don't stop either. And
yeah,
they've been around for a while, but they go hard for sure.
yeah, over 20 years, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's crazy that I just found out about them, but man, now I'm like wanting to go back. Kind of like with you, I want to go back and get all your records. I just like I need to get them
Well,
all and freaking listen
that's
to
the
them.
cool thing about music is you can go
Yeah,
back, you know. I mean, you and I both got into Uncle Tupelo when they broke up, but it's like
yep,
you still got those records, man, you know.
yeah, 100%, definitely. Um, so are you on tour right now, and this is just kind of a day off, or
Well, yeah, I mean, for me anyways, like the touring is sort of a different thing. So the way I look at it, I've got this fall tour. It's got about 35 shows between like Labor Day and Christmas. But I do them in spurts, So I'll go out 4 days here, 5 days there, 10 days here, 3 days there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's kind of spread out and it gets me home and and I'm not away for as long and stuff like that. So I'm not on the road at the moment. I'm home, but I did just get back from a run out in the Dakotas and did a Midwest run earlier in the year, and I did Canada uh right after Labor Day, and then in some home for 3 weeks, and then I'm going out east with my friends from Lansing, this band called the Wild Honey Collective,
oh
and we're
cool,
going on a package tour together. And they're kind of like this sort of like Burrito Brothers, Birds kind of folk rock thing.
yeah, yeah,
So it's going to be like a rock and roll review where I'm going to go up and I'll open with a few songs, and then a couple of those guys will join me on some songs, and then it'll morph into their set, and I'll play with them for a few songs. Then they'll maybe do a few without me, and then we'll have like a big finale. So it's going to be like one of those old like George Jones country review things, where it's one thing, but it's sort of two acts, but it's very sort of incestuous, people coming up and down and all that. And it's a lot of fun. And I haven't been out with a band for a while, so I'm really looking forward to that. And we did something similar just coming out of the pandemic. We went out to Maine and did something the two acts together, and we're going down to Florida and down and back through Tennessee and Ohio and North Carolina and DC and all that. So that's going to be a good run. I think that's like a 12 days, 12 shows in a row, something like that.
man.
Yep.
So you've also been over to the UK, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Tuco's toured UK in 2018, I think. Yep.
Okay,
Off the Don't Worry record.
how did that happen? Like, what?
Um, it was, it with me, it happened the same thing. Everything happens. I made it happen.
Okay,
I mean, it's not like anybody was begging us to come over.
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I had a guy over there who booked the tour for us, and and he was great. And none of us had ever played over there, and we really wanted the experience, and we really wanted to do it, and the timing was right, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was an amazing adventure. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Was not was not lucrative, to put it mildly,
Sure.
but yeah, it was one of the highlights for sure. Yeah, it
Awesome.
was pretty great, and I'd love to get back over there. I mean, I've been talking to a couple people about getting over into like the Belgium, Germany, Netherlands kind of circuit and doing the solo thing over there. So I'm really hoping that happens here in the next year or two.
That'd be cool, man. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So you mentioned you guys have a fifth record coming out. Can you say anything about it?
yeah. So we started it in February of 23, so we're coming up on 2 years. Um, but that's not to say we've been working on it solidly, because I put out the solo record last year and I've been doing a ton of shows. So there's been a lot of inactivity in that. Because I hate things that get dragged out this long. It drives me
Yeah,
nuts. It's horrible for my OCD, and I get tired of the songs, but it's just kind of the way things happened. And so anyway, the record, yeah, we did it up at the studio in Novi, Michigan, and we're mixing it with Tim Padlin, who mixed my solo record, and he mixed the last Tukos record, and he plays bass in Sponge. I don't know if you
oh,
know Sponge, yeah.
oh, sure.
And he's just a huge part of our sound. And so we're mixing it with him, and we are down to the last couple tweaks on the mix.
Okay.
So we'll probably be going into mastering, I'm hoping here, you know, before the holidays, hopefully. And yeah, it's there's no reason it shouldn't come out next year. So
Very cool.
what happens then, I don't know. It's like we're gonna have this new record, and I'm
Yeah.
super proud of it, and I'm super into it. We got to figure out what's going on with the band because we haven't been able to tour these last couple years, which is why I've been out.
Okay.
And we got to figure that out. What are we going to do? Are we going to get out there and promote this thing, or what? So that's all. There's still some questions, but it will come out, and I'm stoked about it.
Okay. Um, so with independent bands, this is something that I haven't really I wasn't really super aware of until I started doing this podcast and talking to people. So when you go into the studio, do you record all the songs like in one stretch, or do you have to kind of pay as you go and maybe record a couple songs and throw a little more in and record a couple more?
Um, well, how we've done the last two records we've done, Candy
Hmm.
Coated Cannonball and this one, we've gone into like a pro studio, like a real nice room,
Okay.
and then we'll go in there and we'll do all the basic tracks like in a week.
Okay.
So we'll do all the drums, bass, and rhythm guitars. And and then over the next few weeks, or in this case years, we will we'll do Gabriel, our drummer, and myself, we both have home studios.
Okay.
So we can do guitars at home and we can do harmonies at home. And we try to do vocals in the nice rooms in the studios.
Sure.
And they tend to have like real nice mics and stuff like that and great like off-board compressors and EQs and stuff like that we can use. So we try to do that in the big studios as well, but to save costs and to work at a more leisurely pace, we'll do a lot of overdubs at home,
Okay. Right on.
guitars, percussion. We do a lot of leads at home, stuff like that. And then we'll go back to usually mix with Tim Paddling again at one of the nicer rooms. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do some of it, but we're not so good at like mixing that we can trust ourselves to do that. Or we don't really have rooms that are quite as nice as some of these big studios.
Sure.
My,
Sure.
my solo record though, we did in Gabriel's living room, which which I thought turned out great. And he's the Two Coast drummer. He wasn't on it, but he engineered it. And
Okay.
so I'm not above doing that. I'm not above the home recording thing, but nothing like a big room, man, with those big drums and getting that room and that. That's like the room is almost like an instrument in those cases. So yeah, so we split it up and we tried it. It's part of the reason is to save costs, and part of the reason is just because it's just so much easier to do it at home, and you don't have to schedule time, and you don't have to, you can just like come and go as you please, and all that stuff is just really great.
Yeah. Yeah. So having a really good mixer and engineer, I would assume, and a consistent one when you're recording in different spots is really important for making an overall sound, right? I mean,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and Tim, that's one of the thing that Tim Paddlin brings to the table, and that's why we started working there. So Tim and his brother Andy, they work out of the studio in Saline, Michigan called The Loft, and it's on a horse farm in very rural Michigan.
okay.
And that's where they did that Sponge record. They did the first Sponge record there. And I don't know if you know this band from Detroit called the Fags from the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's John from Horse was in the Fags then with Tim, the bass player. And but I loved those Fags records. I love the
Right.
way they sounded. So
Right.
that's why I'm like, let's go to the Loft and talk to these guys. And that's why we started recording there. But those Paddlin brothers, there's a certain magic that they bring to the project that it's almost something you can't even articulate because it's
Yeah.
just it for the first time in my life things sound the way I want them to sound. And they're not, Tim is not maybe, he's not always the most conventional way of doing things, and there's bats in the walls and squirrels flying around and raccoons in the kitchen and stuff, and it's a crazy environment, but there's just this magic that comes out of there. And yeah, I wouldn't trade. That's where that Best Watershed stuff was recorded too. So
Oh, nice.
if you're into Watershed, like that 5th of July album and all that, those were all
Yeah,
done
yeah.
with Tim Padlin. And um, did you read Joe's book, Joe Osterreich, their bass player from
I did
Watershed?
not. I did not. I want to though.
Because
It sounds very freaking interesting. Yeah.
you have to. It's right
Yeah.
up your alley. But he talks about Tim in his
Okay.
book, and it opens up with Tim ripping a big bong hit in the studio, and it's
Oh
amazing.
man.
Like, yeah, it's a great rock and roll book.
Yeah.
But for me, it also hits really close to home because I know some of those people, and I've been to all those places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, highly recommend that book to you.
It's basically about being like a for people who it's basically about being like a band that toured and didn't quite like I don't remember the title of it, but it's like a clever play on like we're not famous kind of, right? Is
Yeah,
it?
it's like Hitless Wonder.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
something like Life in the Small Leagues of Rock and
Right.
Roll or something like.
Sure.
But they actually they met over a love of Cheap Trick.
Mhm.
Very similar to how Keith and Mick met over the blues.
Yeah.
And and then they ended up getting signed to Epic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then they toured with the Smithereens and they did all this stuff. And they reached these certain heights. And then, as things happen,
Yeah.
things started to come down. And it's all about the rise and fall of that band and the personal lives and his life in and out of the band. And it's just, as a Midwesterner, as a fan of rock and roll, as somebody who likes Watershed, if you're a Cheap Trick fan, all those things, like, you got to read it. It's so good. It's such a good book.
Yeah, I know he's like obsessed with Cheap Trick. Um I've heard
Colin,
some
yeah, they both
interviews
are, but
with
especially Colin. Yeah,
yeah.
Colin. So Colin's the guy who runs Pencil Storm, and
Okay. Okay.
he's the guitar player. Joe's the guy who wrote the book, and he's the bass
Okay.
player.
Okay.
And they're both huge Cheap Trick guys for sure. But
Right.
you get Colin going on Cheap Trick, and you're gonna be there for a while. Yeah, he's got a coffee shop in Columbus, and yeah, you bring up next position, please, and no one's getting any coffee anytime soon.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they're great people though. They're good, and Colin's been really good to me. He's a really good guy. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So speaking of writing,
Yeah.
you write reviews and things like that for different websites and whatnot, right?
Yeah, well, I write for that Pencil Storm website, which
Yeah.
is it's sort of a music blog, movies, pop culture, and sports.
Okay.
I'm a co-editor in chief there, and it's run by Colin from Watershed and Colin's Coffee,
Okay.
and we have like a staff of writers, kind of. It's not a money making venture, but it's just for
Mhm.
the love of the art, and yeah, we get into everything from record reviews, concert reviews, travel logs. We do a lot these days, a lot of in memoriams and
Sure.
movie reviews, rock and roll documentaries, book reviews, interviews, all that stuff. So,
Nice.
I don't get to write as much as I'd like to, but I do my share of contributing, and I also get to. It's a good chance for me to help out some of my friends who could benefit from some press and stuff like that too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's been fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm always looking for like the next thing to watch or my next thing to read or
It's great for
next
that.
my next
Yeah.
record. So yeah, I'll definitely check it
It's great
out.
for- I met Colin because I played on their last record. I played on two
Oh,
songs on their last record through Tim, who keeps coming up. But he's like, hey, Watershed has these two songs. Can you come down and lay some guitar down? So that's how I met Colin. And yeah, that's how I got hooked up with Pencil Storm then.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
So talking about Columbus, I've never talked about this before on the podcast either. But one of the things that really got me interested in wanting to do a podcast, other than my own need for a creative outlet, there was a band called the Stepford Five out of Columbus a few years ago, and two of the guys that were in that band, Tim and Jay, do a podcast called Dig Me Out, where they talk about '90s albums They do like deep dive reviews on '90s albums,
Wow.
and so yeah, and a lot of the way that I became familiar with Columbus bands like Watershed and whatnot was through that podcast. So
Well, that tracks. Yeah.
yeah, I never knew that Columbus, Ohio had such a. I didn't even know that Greg Dooley was from Columbus, Ohio, like
Gosh, I didn't
until that
either.
podcast. Yeah, yeah,
I thought he was from Cincinnati. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Um,
if he's not, I mean, they talk about it like he's from Columbus, so I don't know, but
I mean, Afghan Wigs, I know were a Cincinnati band, but
yeah, yeah,
he could have been from Columbus though.
yeah.
Dwight Yoakam's from Columbus, you know.
Wow, wow,
Yeah. And yeah, no, Columbus is a great city. And there's like I and Two Cow Garage I was talking about. And
sure,
you know, there's a band called Call Me Rita, which is
okay,
great. And Lydia Lovelace, who I'm a huge fan of, she's
yeah,
from Columbus. And Todd May, who plays guitar with her, he's got some great bands out and or some great records out on his own. And he had a band called the Lily Bandits that was
okay,
fantastic. So
okay.
I got some stuff to send you, I think. Some stuff you need to
Awesome.
check out. Yeah.
I
But I think
appreciate.
you'll be way into all that stuff. But it's a great city. It hasn't been a great city for me personally, musically. I mean, the last time the Tucos played there, we opened up for Watershed and it was packed to the gills. And that was more people than we played to in Columbus and every other time I've been to that city combined,
Okay.
uh, which was that was awesome. And
Yeah.
I just played there a couple weeks ago, and it was like a kind of a beer garden thing, and that was pretty cool because Colin came out, and Micah from Two Cow came out, and Marcy from Scrawl came out, and I'm just like I've got like three generations of Columbus rock and roll royalty here, you know, and I
Yeah.
was just like when people like that come to my shows, I'm just like it makes me so happy, you know. So I've been really lucky.
That's awesome. I picked up a Dwight Yoakam live CD sight unseen. I was just like, oh, it's Dwight Yoakam live. I'm gonna check this out, and it didn't have guitars and Cadillacs on it, and I was so disappointed.
What's it called? You remember?
Oh, I don't.
Is it
Oh
like
man,
Dwight Live or something?
I
I mean,
know
he
the
only had a
cover.
couple. I know he
Yeah,
had like an Austin City Limits and I think he had like a Dwight Live or
it
something.
might just be Dwight live. Like the cover is him with his guitar kind of leaned over, and then there's like a collage of weird colors around it. The picture's kind of brownish, if I remember right. I mean,
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I was like, ah,
He's so good though, man. His whole
yeah,
catalog is
yeah.
just
It
great.
doesn't matter what's on it. I just wanted to hear.
That was the one you were after.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear that live, the live version of that, you know. But oh well.
It
Um,
he did a deluxe version of I can't remember if it was that record, but one of those records he did like a 2 CD deluxe version and the second disc is a live show from the Roxy in LA
oh man,
from that era.
that's so
And it's
cool.
so good, man. It's
Yeah,
so good. And I think he says like Emmylou Harris is in the audience and this and that. And I mean, you can tell he's on fire, like just
yeah.
young and grabbing it by the balls. And it's really, really good. Yeah.
It's funny because when I was a kid, my mom was really into country music too. I mean, and so there was a lot of country that I appreciated. And then when I got older, when you get into metal's kind of you can't really listen to anything else. It's like not allowed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's really
Very
that's how it
inclusive.
was
Yep.
back then. And now that I'm older, I've gotten back into country music. I kind of started getting back into country music in the '90s, like Patsy Cline and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I don't think for me personally, you can't understate the role that Social Distortion played in that. And the first time I saw them was before that record came out and they did that Johnny Cash song. But
Mhm.
they were playing this little punk shithole in Detroit called Blondie's. And
Yeah, yeah,
this place is the worst of the worst dive bars. Horrible neighborhood, Sunday night, freezing cold, 40 people there. And these guys are like arguing over who's punk and who isn't, all this shit. And he goes, all right, well, we're gonna do a Johnny Cash song. And they did I Walk the Line.
hell yeah.
This would have been December of '88. And I was just like, what is even going on? You know?
Right,
And
right.
then a couple years later, they put out that record and it's got the Ring of Fire on it. And all of a sudden it's like, I mean, for me, it was like, I got to check out this Johnny Cash
Yeah.
because I love this. And then so then you get the box set, the Columbia box set. Then I got the Patsy Cline box set,
Mhm.
and from there it's like Burrito Brothers
Yeah.
and Graham Parsons and Uncle Tupelo. And for me though, it was really hearing Social Distortion. It's being like, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but it's like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
go for
fuck you, man. Punk or not, we're playing Johnny Cash, and he's probably more punk than you ever were, anyways. And it's like that to me was like life changing. It's like, and I got to see a lot of those old country guys, but I never got to see Johnny. Um, but yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was great. And now it's like, yeah, I mean, those Waylon records from the 70s and
it. Yeah.
even some of that Hank Jr. stuff was so good. And Buck and the Buckaroos and all that stuff. Just so good, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're
That's
right though about metal though. Like, yeah, you can't like
yeah. Yeah.
or at least you couldn't back then, It was like
Right.
not
I
in it's very inclusive.
yeah. I remember getting really into Personal Jesus, and that was one of the first non-metal cassettes that I'd bought since I got into metal. I was like, this Violator thing is amazing. I was like, I have
Yeah.
to get this. And obviously I knew who Depeche Mode was from growing up, but that was I mean, honestly, I feel like Personal Jesus was heavy enough that it could pass, you know. But
You mean when Johnny did it?
oh no, no, I'm talking about the original, the Depeche Mode version.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like 89 or whatever it was. That was one of the first cassettes once I got into metal that I bought that wasn't metal. Because I was
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
gotta get this, man. This song.
I mean, I think even a lot of metal guys had their, I guess for lack of a word, guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
But
always been into like uh, I was listening to the Bangles when I was into metal, so
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love those Bangles records, and I still listen to those all the time. And it's like, but I didn't care. I was still, I would go straight from Master of Puppets to Different Light. I'd be
No,
perfectly fine with that.
that's awesome. Yeah, I
Get your ass
honestly,
kicked though in some circles.
right, right. I think because the '90s, because alternative rock kind of opened up the door to everything.
It
That was when I
did.
started accepting some of the stuff that I liked as a kid, and then venturing into other stuff. Because before that, I mean, it was really just like, I don't know. But I
Well,
remember,
alternative's such a bigger umbrella too. I
yeah,
mean, you had like the really kind of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's sort of like very sort of innocent pop music, like maybe a band like the Sundays or something like that, and it's beautiful stuff, but it doesn't really have an edge, and it's but then you have Soundgarden,
yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. It's all kind of alternative, but it's like with metal, it's like it's
It's a
and I
thing.
know there's 47 different genres of metal and all that, but it's not that wide of an umbrella compared to like alternative,
Sure,
and
sure.
country. Yeah.
It's funny because just going back to Social Distortion real quick, when that second big release came out, um I loved Making Believe.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
such a good cover, man. It was my
Yeah.
favorite song on the album for a long time.
I
Yeah,
think so too. I totally agree. I'll never forget when I heard that I heard it on college radio in Ann Arbor, U of M, right before the record came out. And I was just like, "Oh my God, this is
yeah,
so good,"
yeah.
And I remember I think the DJ said it was a Patsy Cline song, and I don't think Patsy ever did it, did she?
I don't think so either. The only I heard Dolly Parton do it.
I got Wanda Jackson doing it.
Okay, interesting.
And I think Kitty Wells did it.
Okay,
Maybe first. I'm not sure, but Dolly makes sense too. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a great song and a great cover. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny the Patsy Cline thing because that's what I heard too. Like when it first came out, and I looked and looked and looked and could not find Patsy Cline doing that freaking song.
I
So
wonder if it's just lazy, somebody lazy, just it's a girl country singer. It must have been
yeah,
Patsy.
that's nuts. That
But
it's nuts that it spread like that though.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
crazy.
yeah. It's funny talking about the big umbrella of alternative music. I remember an interview with Chris Cornell where he said that he hated the term alternative music because he was like, "What is it an alternative to? What's not on the radio?" Was what he said. I thought that was kind
Right.
of funny because I mean, it became everything that was on the radio basically became
Yeah,
alternative.
at the time it became not alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I can see that, but it's like I don't know, man. Like I kind of
It-
where we were talking about earlier, but it's like genre. Like I I can't I can't personally like pigeonhole my own genre. It's just too
yeah,
it's too difficult to do. And yeah, and I know like some people try to control it. Like we don't want to be seen as this or this and this and if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. But I just kind of gave up on it. I'm just like,
yeah,
you know, if somebody here like somebody hears one of our songs, they're going to think we're a country band. If
right.
somebody else hears a different one of our songs, they're going to think we're a punk band, you know. If somebody hears a different one, then we're all of a sudden we're a rockabilly band. And I'm just like, we'll roll
Yeah,
with whatever, man. I mean, we can hang. What I like to say is we can hang with all those guys, you know. We can play with punk bands, we can play with country bands, we can play with whoever you got, you know. It's just thrash metal might be a stretch, but other than that, we're
not gonna
good,
do
you
anything with
know.
Flotsam and Jetsam anytime.
Not that
But
we would turn it down, not that we couldn't
right.
hold our own, but
Yeah.
that might be a little stretch.
If they were playing the stuff off Quattro, some of the more melodic stuff, maybe.
Sure. Yeah,
But
it could happen. We'd hold our own. We could hold our own. I played shows with metal bands before.
nice,
Yep.
nice. Um, but yeah, I mean, that I think that's one of the nice things about, for all the negatives about the way music is released nowadays. I think one of the nice things about it is because so many people are marketing their own music. You can put out whatever. Like you don't have to be. It's harder to get on like the curated playlists or whatever, but you don't have to be one thing anymore. Like it's not, you know. Um,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean,
yeah,
the cool thing is that anybody can do it.
yeah,
The bad thing is that anybody can do it,
right, right.
but the good stuff, I mean, if you seek it out, if you seek it out, then the good stuff will you'll gravitate towards the good stuff and you meet someone like you or somebody like Colin or whatever and they'll be like, have you heard this, and then I mean that's where I get a lot of my music is, wow, have you heard
Yeah,
this, and it's like, no, send me that, I'll check it out, and it's you know I've got a pretty massive music collection, but I feel
yeah,
like there's a lot of stuff I still haven't heard.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because when I had Gerald Collier on, I was wearing my Sergeant Thunderhoof shirt, and he
Yeah,
knew who they were. I was
nice.
like, how does anyone else in this country know who Sergeant Thunderhoof is? Not that I'm like super special.
I don't
I
know who
was
they
just
are.
like,
Yeah.
geez, man. That was amazing. But
That's
Thunder,
that's how I found you because I'm a huge Best Kissers fan, and I'm
man,
Gerald
yeah.
and I are friends too. We've hung out before, and yeah,
Awesome.
he's a Michigan guy from way back. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, that was a fun conversation, man.
it was a great conversation. I love the Goo Goo Doll stories.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
He had a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
yeah, he's got a. When we played with Soul Asylum here in Detroit, he was in town that weekend, and he and I went to the show together, and
Oh,
yeah, he had no shortage of stories. He had great stories and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Yep.
yeah, it's really cool. Like when you have people come on the show who you like. When I have people come on the show who I've admired, and they end up being pretty cool guys with cool stories, and and I get to know them somewhat. That's really really freaking awesome, man. And
Yeah.
then
It's
another cool
cool,
thing is
man.
like another cool. What's that, brother?
That's what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, I was talking to Colin and Mike about this when I was in Columbus. I'm like, at this point, it's like I get out there and tour, like, yeah, for the music and get my songs out there, but I also like I've got friends in all these cities who I've built up
Right.
over the years, and I don't get to see them that often. So it's and I don't go out a whole lot in Detroit because I'm not home that much, and when I'm home, I don't want to go out. But
Yeah.
so it's kind of my social life, and get to hang out with those people. It means a lot. So those relationships that you build through rock and roll, whether you're in a band or you work at a venue or you're doing a podcast like you or whatever, those relationships are huge, man. Especially as
Yeah.
you're getting older and kids, they got their noses in video games and there's a million streaming services to watch anything you'd possibly ever want. Those
Yeah.
personal relationships, man, that's kind of a dying thing, and I'm trying not to let it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the most important things about podcasts, especially podcasts that aren't just interviews, that aren't just firing off questions, like where you're
Right.
having actual conversations with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's keeping it alive at least somewhat, you know.
Yeah.
So
And if somebody hears this and they're like, oh, who's Watershed? I guess I
right,
should look that up, or oh, that sounds like a book I should read, or something like that, then we're doing good work, man.
absolutely, man, absolutely. So I think we're gonna wrap things up here pretty quick.
Sure.
But, before we go, man, if there's, I mean, we've already kind of touched on what you're doing, but if you just want to give a quick rundown of what you got going on and all that good stuff, where
Yeah.
we can find you.
Yeah, so I mean on the live front, I've got the record label that I'm on is GTG Records, and they're doing GTG Fest in Lansing, Michigan, and that is October 17th and 18th. So I'll be doing the 18th, and then I'm going on tour with the Wild Honey Collective in November, and that's November 5th, and we're going down to Florida and back. So if you're anywhere, you know, we're doing like Dayton, Chattanooga, Gainesville,
Ah,
coming back up through Jacksonville, Asheville, Raleigh, DC, Baltimore, Akron. So if you're in any out there at all, we'll be doing that. And then I've got a shorter run in December, Upper Midwest, doing I'm doing like Springfield and Goshen, Indiana, and Milwaukee and Chicago. And that's going to kind of wrap it up for the year. Uh, 2026, Tuco's record will come out. What is in store for the live front is something I'm actively working on figuring out. Um, and I don't even know right now, but it's
yeah,
like there will be shows and there will be a lot of them. In what format or supporting what project remains to be seen, but I ain't done yet.
right on, man.
Yep.
So so yeah, I mean, Jeremy, this has been super cool, man. I love just
Yeah, man. I
talking about
appreciate that. I
music, having a
appreciate
good
the
time. Of
effort and you looking into the stuff and getting familiar with
course.
the stuff and all that. And like I said, I really enjoyed your interview with Gerald, and I was like, this guy and I probably have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, so I just want to throw in there, Jeremy and the Two Ghosts has a website,
Yeah.
and if you go on the website, there's a store, and you can pick up a lot of the past releases, including your old bands. Uh,
Yeah.
so people, support him that way too, other than just going and seeing the live stuff. Because I know physical sales. I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, I don't know how it works with a record label, but I know that you can get a pretty good chunk of that, back to
Yeah.
you. So
I mean, it, streaming is without getting on my high horse,
yeah, yeah,
streaming is pretty much the worst thing that's ever happened in the music industry, unless you own one of those companies. But certainly for a band like mine, it's just been a not a good thing. And
yeah,
buying records and going to see bands live is really what helps us. And I
yeah,
mean, I'm glad people are listening to it. I'm not gonna. I have gone off on it in the past, and I get why people do it. I
yeah,
understand. I understand it's convenient and it's cheap. You don't have to tell me that, but it's like it really is horrible. And I don't have a Spotify account, and I will not ever give that company a dime of my money. But buy a record, go see your bands live, tell your friends, that's huge. Like
yeah,
if you have a band that you like, tell your friends, get there to see the opening band. If you're going to see somebody at a club, even if you don't know who the opening band is, get there early because you might really, really like them. And I've seen a lot of great bands that way. So it's never been more difficult than to be out there making music on the road and at a level where you're actually releasing music and trying to go out there and support it. It's never been more difficult than it has been now, and even worse for the venue owners, you know. So it's you know, do what you can, and I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you saying that, and
Of course.
you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's out there. Bandcamp is great. Bandcamp treats musicians pretty well, and obviously the merch table at a venue or the merch store online, all that stuff is great.
Right on. Yeah, I know we were about to wrap it up, but I did just want to say real fast. When I listen to music online, if I like the music, I buy the album.
Sure.
I have 5,000 CDs. I don't just like sit and stream stuff all day.
Yeah,
Like
and dude,
so.
I'm not knocking anyone who has Spotify.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah,
listens to Spotify. It's cool. I get it. Like I get it.
yeah,
And I know like not everybody has a turntable in their car, you know. Okay, I understand that. It's like and part of the problem is that there's nothing better right now. Like I can say you shouldn't be on Spotify, but what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Because there's nothing that's that easy, that's that cheap. And as long as that's, you know, somebody smarter than me needs to come up with an alternative.
yeah,
And
for sure.
until that happens, there's people are just going to keep going and doing what they're doing, and honestly, you can't really blame them. And it's that's just the way the world works. So
Yeah,
I hope somebody figures it out. I'm not sure they're gonna, but you know, whatever. Until then, we just roll with it and we just do the best we can, you know. Just keep
yeah.
plugging away and putting out our records and hoping people like you stumble on them and dig them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my point that I was kind of making, I wasn't really defending Spotify, just to be
Yeah, I
clear.
know. I
I
know.
was I was saying using Spotify as a discovery tool,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then going out and actually buying the
Right.
buying the piece of art, you know.
Yep. Yeah,
That's what people should do with Spotify, in my opinion. Use it
absolutely. And
if you're going to use it as a discovery tool. You know,
yeah, and I get that too, you know. Oh, I'm going to see a band tonight. Who's the opening band? Let's check them out on Spotify and see if we like them, you know.
right, right.
Or whatever. I get all that. So it's, you know, people are going to do it and it's fine and in the end, I mean if Spotify's your thing and that's how you want to listen to my music, I mean I'd rather have you do that than not listening to my music, you know.
Sure.
I mean if it makes you feel good, you should do it. So it's you know, what are you going to do, man? It's just, you know, it'd be nice if there was something a little better out there, but until then.
Yeah, living in a town with no record store is weird because I grew up in the '80s, and it's just
So
a,
are you down like close to Louisville then?
I'm about 2 hours out of
Okay.
Louisville. Yeah, I'm about 40.
I stayed in Columbus, Indiana when I was down there.
Oh, sure, that's a couple hours from me too, but
Okay.
I'm about 45 minutes out of Oxford, so which and then about an hour from Dayton, Cincinnati. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All
um,
right.
hour and a half to 2 hours down from Indy.
Yep.
So, yeah, um, so,
Cool.
there's just no,
Yeah.
the town that I live in, there's nothing as far as music. Kind of
Yep.
sucks. But
Yeah, I play a lot of those little towns and I'm always looking for record stores and sometimes they have them and sometimes they don't, you know, but
sure.
I mean talking about venue owners, I mean that'd be a tough gig too, being a record store owner, you know. So,
Yeah, I anybody who's keeping that alive, man,
yeah.
thank you. You
Yeah.
know,
And it's all part of the scene, man. It's all like the musicians, the venues, the podcasters, the record stores, the college radio, it's all part of the scene, you know. The if a town still by some chance has like a local press, you know, yeah, it's all important stuff. So everybody's got their role to play and some cities do it better than others, but it's, you know, it's cool to hit all those branches, you know.
yeah, definitely, man. It's funny because every time you say something, I think of something else, and I don't know how long we've been on this podcast, but because you're talking about college radio, just made me think of WFMU, which is I just discovered WFMU recently, and it's amazing. I
Yeah.
never I've never heard a radio station like it in my freaking life, dude. Like the fact that the DJs literally bring their own collections in and just play them. What?
Yeah.
Like what? It's
A
the
lot like
craziest thing.
WCBN in Ann Arbor used to be like that, you know. I mean, it might
Nice.
still be, but U of M, and I know like KAXP out in Portland is real good, you know.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
there's cool little stations around, you know. And
Yeah.
even like on Sirius, Little Steven's channel is pretty
Oh
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Little Steven's Underground Garage when it was a syndicated
Yeah.
radio show.
Yeah.
So
It used to be
good
on
for
like Rock
him.
Radio in Detroit. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, good for him, man.
So
Same
Ron,
with
yeah,
the.
he's got that Rodney Bingenheimer show on Sunday nights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's been playing our last single, our 5'3" and Tiger Eyes single.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome, man.
yeah, it's been really exciting. Yeah, he's played
Yeah,
it like he's probably played it at least half a dozen times. And
nice.
yeah, it's pretty cool having him dig it, you know. I mean that's the guy who like discovered the Bangles and the Knack and all those Plimsolls. Yeah, I mean
Drama, drama.
maybe not discovered, but certainly helped them a lot, you know. So it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a massive Dramarama fan.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
are my favorite band of all time.
That's funny.
So,
My buddy Ricky Rat
yeah.
up here in Detroit, you know him?
No.
He So he was the guitar player for the Trash Brats, but
Okay.
he's always telling me Dramarama, Dramarama, you got to check out Dramarama. He goes, it's not a great name for a band, but they were incredible. So I got to check those guys out. Yeah,
Oh man, yeah. If you haven't,
I have
definitely.
not. Yeah,
Oh, dude. So not
where do
the
you
yeah,
start?
but John. Oh man. Vinyl probably start with Vinyl.
Which
Uh,
that's the name of the album?
yeah, the name of the album is Vinyl. Yeah.
Okay, all
Um,
right.
that's probably the best representation of their sound. Um, and then they've got like three albums before that and a couple albums after that. But Vinyl is probably to me the Dramarama album. So yeah.
Okay.
They also have a greatest hits called 18 Big Ones if you want something easy to just kind of get an overview of all of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes that's a good place to start too.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, man,
All
they
right.
are the Monkees and the Stones and Cheap Trick and Fleetwood Mac. Not but yeah, that's
Sounds right up my alley,
yeah,
man.
they're
Yeah,
so
I love
awesome.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So so yeah, I interviewed John on here and I asked him about influences and he was like, a lot of people hear the Beatles in our sound, but I was a little too young for the Beatles. I was really into the Monkees. So
Uh-huh.
so yeah, it was kind of cool to hear that. But
Knock that monkey stuff.
for sure, man.
That's
All
where
right.
we started.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up for real now.
Yeah,
But Jeremy, thank you so much, dude. I know I said an hour or less, and I think we've been going for an hour and a half, but
man,
it's
I really
hard once you
appreciate
get
it.
talking.
It's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
it's been so cool. So I want to thank as the sun goes down behind me, I want to thank my producer Tyler and ME Studios. Um, the dude really, I mean, this is my passion, but he's the one who makes my passion happen. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be putting this thing out.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I appreciate him tremendously uh, for helping me with this for over a year now. And he just does all the technical stuff and all the things that I couldn't do. So I really appreciate that. And Jeremy, thank you again so much, dude.
Yeah, well,
Everyone,
hope we meet in person. Let's meet in person
oh yeah,
sometime. And
100%, man,
yeah,
definitely.
so I get out that way from time to time, so I'm
Yeah,
sure we'll be within an hour or something.
yeah, that'd
So,
be that'd be awesome, man. If
all right,
you,
man.
all
First
right,
one's on me.
oh, I appreciate it, brother. I mean, I'll buy a ticket too, man. I'm not even not not averse to buying a ticket. I was trying to think of the word. But yeah, I appreciate all everyone who listens. Um, please check out my new music discussion podcast. My taste in music sucks. You can find it right in the Most Excellent Entertainment. I'm doing that with a guy named Chris Icon, and we've had some really cool conversations about unknown albums and just music in general. So that's been fun. Um, I'm
Sounds
probably
great.
yeah. It's a good time, man. We've people have latched onto it so quick. I didn't expect that. So the My Taste in Music Sucks podcast might be overtaking Most Excellent Entertainment, but it's what happens sometimes. But anyway, yeah, just thanks everybody for checking us out. Thanks for coming along on this ride. Thank you again, Jeremy. The music's so good. Please check out Jeremy Porter and all the stuff that he's done. And we'll be back next week with more Most Excellent Entertainment.